What's going on, everybody? We are live, and tonight my guest is John Stumpf, and John is a in real life friend who I met, funny enough, over Facebook Marketplace. Randomly happened to come across my stuff, and he drove to my house, picked up some stuff, and we've been friends ever since. John, thanks for coming on tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very, very, very happy to be back.
It has been a while. We've both been very busy, but yeah, it's always nice to get somebody that lives locally that we can hang out with and do random stuff with. I think, if I remember right, the only thing that we've watched together is Hack-O-Lantern from Masker Video.
We did Hack-O-Lantern and Stage Fright.
Stage Fright.
Yeah, with the owl head.
Yeah, I forgot that was together. That is a great movie.
Yeah, we did. That was a double feature that night. So.
Nice. Yeah, I love Stage Fright. Hack-O-Lantern, not so much. How's everything been? You've been super busy on your side of the world.
All the time. Work, and just keeping up with movie watching, of course. Always trying to do that daily if I can. I kind of went through a rut there for a little while in January. I had no inspiration to watch anything. But I got out of that funk by watching Rocky. So, that's like the most inspiring movie, so got me back in the movie watching and watching lots and lots and lots of stuff now. So we're good.
Good. John has a really interesting sort of like collecting endeavor. John has been trying to collect all of the films that have been nominated for Best Picture ever. And how's that goal going at the moment?
My shelf is full now. So I put the green screen behind me for movies because I didn't want you to see my bedroom. But I've got an entire bookshelf now full. I think I could probably fit in 3 more movies at the very bottom.
Wow.
And that's it. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I think I own roughly of the 570 or 80. I probably roughly own 400 of them at this rate. Maybe a little less, but either way, it's still quite a bit.
And you're still going for any format on those, right?
For the most part, yeah. If it's
or DVD or above, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. For like newer things, I'm of course going Blu-ray or 4K. So like my most recent ones, I've got Tar and oh my god, their green screen's freaking out. But Tar and everything
really
all at once. Those are my newest ones that I added just the other day. So
I'm trying to find out what's going on with that release of Tar. I think it's just because the whole Oscar fever, but it is a little difficult to track down for some people.
Really?
Like Target has some copies in, but they're very expensive, like $40 just for a Studio 4K type of expensive,
wow.
Which is pretty crazy.
Well, this was just the Blu-ray, which I was okay with because the movie was very good, but I don't know if I necessarily needed it on the 4K.
Right.
And I've got many thoughts about Everything Everywhere All at Once, but I went all out and got the 4K on that one as well. So
good. We have a whole bunch of comments already, and Josephine, I gotta say, I love when I come on here and you've got a bunch of comments waiting. This is always fun. Just finished reading The Outsiders, and then watched the movie today. Thoughts on The Outsiders book and movie. John even prepared and grabbed something off the shelf to share for this.
And the green screen's gonna freak out, so let me turn that off. How about for a second here?
Oh, the bedroom's not even that bad.
Oh, it's not terrible, and you can still see my stuff in the background. But yeah, so this is that Studio Canal release of The Outsiders.
It's a solid release.
Yeah, this thing is insane. So highly, highly recommend this one. My mom's watching, and she taught The Outsiders for many, 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 many years to her 7th graders.
Nice.
So I know she's going to be very happy that we're starting off with this conversation right now.
Nice.
Yeah, great book. I love the movie. I don't know, just it's a classic, classic Coppola.
I am not sure if I've ever read the book. I feel like I must have, but I don't know. If I did read it, it is gone in the passage of time. I do love the movie, seen it many, many times. I probably need to watch it again. I've not watched that newest 4K yet, and my wife needs to see it again. She saw it many times ago, many years ago. Rumblefish, of course. I've not read Rumblefish, but I've seen Rumblefish. Rumblefish is great. What about you? Are you a Rumblefish person?
I've actually never seen it. I do have it. It's one of those I do own, and another one that my mom it wasn't in her curriculum, I don't think ever. At least it wasn't when I was being taught by her. but I know she really enjoyed it. She really likes S.E. Hinton as well.
Nice.
But yeah, so Outsiders definitely is where it's at.
Yeah, Outsiders is good. Rumblefish, I think at this age, I might prefer Rumblefish a little bit more. I love this question, so we're going to highlight this one, then we'll keep going.
Yeah.
Which David Lynch film would you like to see turned into a theme park ride?
Okay, well, the obvious one is Straight Story, because why would you want
No.
to go on a it could be like you're on a lawnmower going around like a little track, like it's like a kiddie roller coaster, but you're on. It just goes in a circle. How about now? Let's see. Realistically, though, do like a really scary roller coaster of Lost Highway.
Yeah, it could be fun.
Ride. Yeah.
Like, take Space Mountain to make it Lost Highway themed.
There's that.
I think the best answer for this, though, is you have to do Twin Peaks, and right before you, you get in the line, and they hand you a tab of LSD, and then the line is a minimum 30-minute wait, and the moment that you get into the building, nothing is as it seems, and it's like the Haunted Mansion, but it's fully interactive, and they beat the absolute crap out of you.
Oh, if you went to a haunted house of the Palmer House, that's
there. It is.
Oh my
there
God.
It is. All right, we are going to get into our announcements, and obviously, based on the David Lynch question, you can see we're talking about Lynch tonight. John has a kind of a personal story with David Lynch. We're going to be talking about that before we head into it, and any questions that come up during this, by all means, leave a comment. We will try to get to as many as we possibly can. If you want to highlight it, the super chat and all that is there, but in the meantime, let's get into some of these, which this last week, we started with the Vinegar Syndrome sale last Thursday night as part of our live show. Figured we should probably do a little recap on that. Vinegar Syndrome, I know that you had not been super deep into them, but over the last year and a half, it seems like you've gotten a little more closer with them. How's that relationship bloomed in your eyes?
I mean, I get stuff sparingly.
Right.
I'm mostly focused every month. If I see something come out that's been featured on Red Letter Media's Best of the Worst, it's an instant pickup. What was their last? When did they do their last big announcements? Was that just last month? Like with the Clue documentary? Was that just last month?
That was just 15 days ago.
Okay, so I immediately got that one as well. Like that was a day one pickup, and that sold out fast.
Yeah, that slipcover went quick.
But I mean, they're amazing. I really do. Even if I don't pick up all their stuff all the time, I love their work. They put so much effort and heart into their releases.
Yeah.
Those slips are amazing. It's just always they're a great gem. Absolutely.
I agree. And I think it's really cool that they're doing things like this month they announced that subscribers are getting a special gift for Biozombie in their package. And spoilers, if you don't want to hear what it is, I don't have a picture of it ready, but if you are not wanting to hear about it and you're just wanting to be surprised when you open your box, mute it for 10 seconds. But they are doing this really cool hard box that is like the slipcase that they've done for some of their things, where the slipcover will go into the hard box, and it looks incredible. It looks like the recent, I think it was 101 Films that did the release of Johnny Mnemonic. It's got that same kind of art style on the outside, and I can't wait to see that in the hand. It looks amazing. So yeah, last week we had the start of the February adult sale for them, and one of the things that they did is they released Massage Parlor Murders on 4K. Nice looking slip here. It's not my favorite film from them, but it's one that I can see them doing 4K for a reason. It's their 10-year anniversary. This was one of their first titles out, so yeah, not really surprised with this one.
Mm-hmm.
But then we got some of the Peakorama titles. We got the double exposure of Holly. This is from 1976. Nice slip on this one. And this one sounds pretty good. However, I think the star of this month for their new stuff is this release of Body Girls and Let's Get Physical. This one looked pretty dang good. Directed by Bob Chin and starring Hypatia Lee, I believe is how you say your name. And yeah, this one looked actually pretty fun. I'm kind of excited to get that one in. Then they gave us 2 of these catalog slipcovers for A Woman's Torment, and Her Name Was Lisa. Have you seen any of these Picorama titles from them before?
No, not at all. No.
So, A Woman's Torment is one that I will happily recommend to everybody because it is like an adult take on Repulsion from Polanski, and it's very, very well made. It is a very entertaining movie. But they also put out this really neat looking screen print that, if you can't see the detail here, it is fantastic to celebrate their 10-year anniversary. And then that sold out immediately. So they actually released a couple more colorways that you could get with that one. They finally put out a new hoodie to celebrate their anniversary, a nice 10-year anniversary shirt. Then they got the logo shirt for the Valentine's sale, a VHS of Hot and Saucy Pizza Girls, another one I will happily recommend to everybody. And then Erotic Ventures of Candy and Candy Goes to Hollywood got a VHS release. And they even put out Vampire Hookers on VHS.
Everybody needs a vampire hooker, clearly.
I would fully agree. And that's it. Vinegar Syndrome had a decent sale. I think a lot of people were a little disappointed that they weren't like having their socks blown off by everything that was announced. But it's an adult sale. It's not one of their 2 biggest sales of the year. So I was not at all surprised.
There just was... Well, obviously, the Black Friday sale was the most recent big one, right? I mean, there wasn't really
right. Well, I mean, the first week of January was kind of a big deal this year too.
Yeah, the 10-year. That was a 10-year. God, this whole year's been a blur. But yeah, that was a 10-year sale. So yeah, that was a huge thing. They weren't going to go all out on February again. So
exactly, and that was only 6 weeks ago.
I know, right? Insane.
Let's see. Josephine says Andrew and Steven discussed some Picorama titles on their latest episode of Chasing Labels. That is fantastic. I love those guys. We're going to be talking about Steven in just a little bit, obviously. They mentioned that in the 80s, aerobics was a turn on for men, thus making way for aerobic exploitation. Fantastic.
What's the one movie? It's is it Jamie Lee Curtis and John Travolta? What movie is that? That's
big yes. That was just
without
announced, I think.
Google real fast.
Yeah, I don't remember what that title is, but yeah, I feel like that just got announced. Speaking of announcements, we're going to go past Vinegar Syndrome and find out that we are getting Terminal Invasion from Kino Lorber on April 25th. This is a TV movie starring Bruce Campbell. It's directed by Sean Cunningham, which is pretty dang cool.
The names stand out, but when I look it up, it looks like garbage.
Yeah, it doesn't look great.
You know,
Antoine gave the answer. It is Staying Alive. Oh, wait.
Or was it Hard Bodies? I don't know. Perfect. I have no idea. I can look it up.
There's a whole bunch of answers. I thought it was Staying Alive.
The chat can be. I can get it.
Tom got it. Okay, so yeah, it must be perfect. Thank you, Tom. Let's keep going here. Next, Saigon from 1948 is getting a Kino release. This is another one where we don't have the release date, but this looks like a solid release. They got a 2K scan of the 35 millimeter fine grain. It's a new master, and this is the Alan Ladd and Veronica Lake title. This one seems like it's up your alley. Have you seen Saigon before?
I haven't. I'd never heard of it either. I am aware of Veronica Lake, but no, it's just one of those older titles I just don't know of.
Love Josephine's comment here. Bruce Campbell said about his movie Mind Warp, the only good thing about that movie was that I met my lovely wife.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's what I must be thinking of. The most recent announcement wasn't Jamie Lee. It was Travolta and Kelly Preston.
Okay.
Have either of you seen Running Time? Genuinely great dramatic performance from Campbell. I have. That got a fairly recent release from Synapse. Have you seen Running Time?
No, I haven't. I feel bad. There's probably going to be a lot of movies here that you're going to say, have you seen it? And I haven't. But
no, there's tons of these that I haven't seen either. Don't worry about that. Let's head to the next one, which is Force of Evil, which I'm going to ask again if you've seen it, because this one is a pretty big title. No Force of Evil. So this is another one from 1948, and Kino is putting this out soon. We got the other master that was used on this previously. It's a 4K scan of the 35 millimeter fine grain by Paramount with UCLA helping them. This is the John Garfield, Maureen Windsor, Thomas Gomez, Beatrice Pearson film that has gotten quite a few releases, and it's getting another release as well. Wow, Stan has running time on VHS. That's awesome. That's a pretty cool one to have. I'm sure that's pretty rare at this point. I put up an interview with Frank Jang, who is the master of remaster, earlier this week. And somebody that is associated with Frank is Will Gish, who is the Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society aficionado, I guess, the founder, whatever we want to call him. We got a conversation with him going up on the channel tomorrow. So if you want to have a little companion piece to Frank, make sure you check that out. And yeah, it's a good one. Next up, Kino Lorber on April 18th is putting out Lady in a Jam from 1942. This one has a new commentary with Alan Arkush and Daniel Kramer on it. Anything interesting about this one? I know you said you looked up some of the titles.
I looked this one up, and the only thing I really looked up was the director, which was, it says Gregory LaCava.
Yeah,
I have seen one of his movies. It was My Man Godfrey.
Oh, nice, yeah.
That's an obvious major classic screwball comedy. So
yeah,
you have to imagine that this is probably decent too.
I would hope so. And they're saying this is another classic screwball, so I will probably enjoy this one. Next up, we finally got some details on some of the other classic Warner titles that are coming out this year. Rebel Without a Cause from 1955 is coming out on 4K in a steelbook version and also in a slipcase version. I gotta say, I do not love this Warner Brothers 100 branding that they're leading with on all these. I hate when studios pick something like this and run with it.
Yeah, I don't like the tops of that either. And even when I was looking at, like, we're going back to like Tar, like, obviously that's the norm nowadays. I just don't like it. It looks terrible. I don't want the movies anywhere thing here. You know, that's the same thing like with this Warner release. It just, I get why they do it.
I wish I had one near me, but I enjoy the way that Lionsgate does it. Usually it blends in with the art a little bit at the top.
I don't know if I have any off top.
Sibner says they've already confirmed that's a J card.
Oh, okay.
Over a slipcover though? That would be interesting.
I throw those out, so
I mean, we should almost remove you from the channel for that. No, I'm just kidding. This is
all the Arrow releases, all those cards, garbage. Gonzo.
People genuinely buy those, so maybe you should keep a hold of some of them.
Maybe.
This is getting some special features. I don't think it's everything that has been out on these before, but it's a solid looking release. It's getting that Best Buy Steelbook, like I shared. We got, I believe, 4 of these classics from Warner coming in between April and May. This is coming on April 18th, and then one more on April 4th. We are getting Cool Hand Luke in 4K. And it is also getting a steelbook. This is that one, which this is decent. And yes, this Warner 100 is clearly a J card.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know about this one on the slip. I think that might just be a part of the slipcover.
Yeah.
That would be really interesting.
It definitely looks like it based on what you're showing here.
Yeah. So this one is going to have the commentary by Eric Lax, a documentary, which is a making of, and then a trailer on it. It's Cool Hand Luke, Paul Newman, obviously a great. A lot of people have seen this one, but we're getting it on 4K,
Not
which
me,
is
unfortunately. I know. I'm sorry. There's plenty of. I go back a page. I haven't seen Rebel Without a Cause either. So any James Dean, I would say I haven't seen any Paul Newman, but that's a lie because I just watched. I did back to back. I did The Sting and I did Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Are those the only 2?
I'm of The Verdict. I'm sure there's a couple other ones.
Newman has made some genuine greats, and even like his understated films, like he did. Oh gosh, what was that one? Somebody in the chat help me out here. It was put out on imprint, and Kino is also releasing it.
Nobody's Fool.
That's the one.
I know the title. Yeah,
it is very well done, and it's like a classic old person movie for Paul because he's on the older side in that movie, but he is so good in that movie. And
on my watch list coming up soon is his directorial Rachel. I'm going to be watching that one sometime in the next probably week here, because I'm on my best picture journey.
I forgot that Paul Newman is in Cars.
Oh gosh, you're right.
Thanks, John. Oh, that's pretty good. Thoughts on Road to Perdition? I like Road to Perdition. I think it's a very good movie. I think it's easily one of his 10 best. Let's see. Completely agree. More excited about these than the ridiculous box sets that they're doing. However, I just hope they do them right, because Warner, they're not quite as bad as Paramount at their 4Ks, but it could be a little on the rough side sometimes. So yeah, The Hustler, that's another great Newman.
Coming soon. I'll watch it soon.
HUD is also a great Newman performance, and this is such a long title, but The Effect of Gamma Rays on Man in the Moon Marigolds is great too. Paul Newman directed that one. Let's see. What is
all
next?
These Paul Newman movies I haven't seen. My goodness.
Here's another classic, The Maltese Falcon. This one is coming on April 18th as well. This will also have a Best Buy Steelbook, but there was no super good quality picture of that one yet. The pre-order for that should be up fairly soon, if it's not already. This was posted a couple days ago. Again, loaded with lots of special features, but none of them are new, I don't think. I'm hoping that we get something more eventually, but probably not.
They couldn't raise Humphrey Bogart from the dead and do a commentary track?
Not this time. Yes, we absolutely will be, Sibner. It's a mess. And in fact, I think they might be next after this.
Can't wait to talk about them. So I know they're coming up.
Cheers is getting a complete series box set from Paramount on April 25th. This one is odd because I am a little bit worried that they might do the same route that they did with Charmed, and many of those discs were mod discs, and yeah, they were a lot lower quality than they should have been. And with a big box set like this, there is potential for them to cheap out a little bit. But it's also Cheers. It's also like one of the most successful, famous TV shows of all time.
Right.
So I don't know. I loved Cheers. Did you watch Cheers a lot?
No. And I was about to say, usually that was the time, like a rerun, when the theme would come on, we change the channel. But I was getting that confused for some reason with Coach.
Oh, Coach was pretty good too.
Every time Coach came on, you'd hear the music and I instantly changed the channel. I was like, 4.
Ooh, The Hobbit. I think that's a little bit of a hot take. Cheers is good, but it's definitely not better than Seinfeld.
I have no say on that. I'm sorry, dude.
I know you're younger than me. It's okay. We'll let that pass.
Not by much, but yeah.
All right.
I do like the if we're tying it all into David Lynch tonight, I do like there is a I don't know if it's just a TikTok account, but it's called Sign Peaks. What they do is they take Seinfeld clips, they remove the laugh track from it, and they put a Twin Peaks score over it, and it heightens it so much better. It makes it it's incredible. So I highly recommend everybody check it out.
That's fantastic. So last week we talked about the Volume 4 of the Warner Brothers Blu-ray sets, and now we're going to get into Volumes 1, 2, and 3, and just what a mess these are. So April 4th,
yeah.
April 4th, we're getting Volume 1, which is award winners, featuring Grand Hotel, Mutiny on the Bounty, Adventures of Robin Hood, Mrs. Miniver, Casablanca, Key Largo, Streetcar Named Desire, Ben-Hur, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, Bonnie and Clyde, Cool Hand Luke, Bullet, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Purple Rain, The Color Purple, Unforgiven, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, Mystic River, Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, $1 Million Baby, The Departed, Argo, A Star is Born, and Judas and the Black Messiah.
That's a really stacked box, though. I'm not going to lie. Like, that's a lot of good stuff in there.
The titles are good. Mm-hmm. Why are they giving us this box set that is Blu-ray, that they're not doing anything new to any of the discs, repackaging this and getting this on a shelf? Who does this appeal to? Because
they know suckers like us will get them in this chat.
I don't think many in the chat are going to buy this.
I'm kidding. But the thing is, the titles are great, but when it's just a box set, like you said, of just repurposed stuff, I steer clear of it. I mean, like, it's good if you don't own those, but I don't, and I've never seen them, but like, I don't know. I
Well,
just,
many of these are also on 4K,
Mhm.
and you're putting it out on a Blu-ray disc.
Yeah, yeah.
I
'Cause I thought one of these was a 4K box set. Did I misread that wrong?
No, they are doing one 4K box set, but
Okay,
all
that
the
was
ones this week are all the Blu-rays.
okay. That's where I was confused on. Okay, because that was last week that they announced that 4K set, wasn't it?
Either last week or the week before. They've been tapering these out like crazy.
Yeah.
But yes, this is hilarious to me. So they're including 2 of the Lord of the Rings films and not the Fellowship of the Ring. They are including let's see, what was the other wild one here to me? Oh, it might be in the next one. But yeah, just some odd choices. Like to go from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest to Purple Rain to The Color Purple to Unforgiven, and then to jump to 2002, and that's all that they had
Yeah.
from
No,
1975 to 2002. That's insanity.
yeah, and when you look at it closer, you're right. Like, I wouldn't. I don't know. Looking at it one more time, I don't know.
Silent Mandible says Fellowship is DLC.
Yeah, at this rate, exactly.
Yeah, Fellowship is another set. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second. Yes, Stan, I think you and I and many others in the chat are on the same page here. Let's take a closer look at some of this. Here is the close-up of the actual box, and then what we are getting. The whole limited side of this, we are getting commemorative packaging, collectible Warner Brothers Shield pins. I think there's two pins that you can see on the bottom here. It's just the Warner Brothers logo and then the 100 logo that they're using.
I want everybody to know when I wear that I am a Warner Brothers corporate shill.
Use that as a tie clip or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And then a 28-page booklet filled with original posters, production notes, and behind-the-scenes photos, which means all of these movies are jam-packed into 28 pages. And if you listen to what they just said was in there, it's mostly just pictures.
Yeah.
That you can find on the internet right now.
I think DC, his comment here is probably it.
Yep. Dylan Smithy said, if Warner Brothers wants our attention, put this out on VHS.
Oh yeah, I'd buy it.
Hell no, I want this on Laserdisc. I want this on a 25 Laserdisc set. But then we have Volume 2, which is comedies, dramas, and musicals. And this one has 42nd Street, The Wizard of Oz, Citizen Kane, Singing in the Rain, A Star is Born, 1954, Rebel Without a Cause, Dr. Zhivago, The Outsiders, Risky Business, Gremlins, The Goonies, Little Shop of Horrors, both cuts. They needed to make sure to tell you that for Little Shop. Empire of the Sun, The Bodyguard, Dumb and Dumber, Friday, Boogie Nights, Selena, Practical Magic, The Iron Giant, Elf, Hairspray, The Hangover, Invictus, and Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah, this is one. It's like great quality. It's like, okay, like they're fine movies. Don't get me wrong. Like everything here is okay. As it gets closer to the end, like it's okay, but it's an odd mix.
Silent Mandible wants it on microfiche.
Hell yeah. I would never expect a box set to have Citizen Kane and The Hangover in the same.
Citizen Kane, The Hangover, and Elf. Yeah. Come on. Like, this is a wild set.
And once again, you're talking about sorry to interrupt you, but jumping the gun on the years. Look at that. It goes from 1954, Star is Born, Rebel Without a Cause, 55. You skip 10 years to Dr. Zhivago, and then you skip 20 years to The Outsiders and Risky Business.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. And it's Warner Brothers, like one of the 4 biggest studios ever.
Yeah.
And this is what they put out.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's for those that have never seen these, they just want a complete box set. They care about space. I don't know.
Paul, my copy and paste did not get that very well. I apologize. Iron Giant says it came out in 1909. The character recognition in photos is not 100% yet.
Mm-hmm.
Volume 3. This is where it gets even sillier, I think, because they start in 1978. Like, This is Volume 3, Fantasy, Action, and Adventure. Superman, Never-Ending Story, Supergirl, Lethal Weapon, Batman, Twister, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Ocean's 11, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, there it is, Constantine, V for Vendetta, Pan's Labyrinth, 300, The Dark Knight, Man of Steel, Mad Max Fury Road, Fantastic Beast and Where to Find Them, Wonder Woman, Justice League, Aquaman, Shazam, Joker, Birds of Prey, The Suicide Squad, and Black Anthem. This is like 70% DC.
This sucks. I'm just saying it. This is a bad box set.
Anthony says Batman 89. Time to throw out my 4K.
Yeah, like you said, it's half DC, like, and half new DC, which isn't very critically acclaimed. You know, I'm gonna get this just for Black Adam, and it has like, okay, Supergirl's not very, good either. So.
Right. I'm shocked that that's coming out at all as part of this. Let's see. John says, just give us the goddamn Devils already.
Yes. I think it is absolute crap that they put the Devils in Space Jam New Legacy. And they won't put that out on Blu-ray or any form.
It's a good call. Good call. Harry Potter in 2023, the WB celebration is canceled. You know what's odd too? I think it's kind of odd. Obviously, they had to do it because it's the studios and it makes sense. But it is kind of odd that Warner Brothers and Disney are doing the 100-year celebration at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I got to imagine there's a little bit of competition going on there, quite a bit, even though Disney owns everything under the sun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh gosh. Well, fantasy and adventure didn't exist before 1978.
No, it didn't actually.
Do they have separate packaging inside at least? No. I mean, this is where it gets really bad. If you can see, it's just these little envelopes for the discs. And it's in those little book pages, and I hate these types of releases. Absolutely hate them. The only times that I think something like this works is with Severin sets. Severin absolutely kills it with their packages. Like this is the Andy Milligan set, and yeah, they come in the books, but they're the side loaders, and they are easily accessible, and it's light, and this is a director's full filmography that's available, and it is in this easy thing that we can access on our shelf, and it holds in one small package, and yet Criterion will give us, the Godzilla box set that takes up half of a coffee table.
And those discs are hard to get out too. Like, I need to just get the makeshift boxes for those, the custom box for those.
Custom ones, yeah.
I just need to get them. I've been trudging my feet ever since that box came out.
John, you shut your mouth. Constantine is way better than most of these DC films. Come on. Let's see. Oh, I guess I should probably zoom out here. Next up is... Finally, no more WB. Oscilloscope had a sale for Valentine's Day. Their sales are always great, but they're over very quickly. So make sure you follow close for those.
Can you real quick explain? I clicked on that and I didn't go through it any further. What was the point of Silence of the Lambs with it? Was it just... Was there any sort of tie-in? Like, obviously they don't release that, but...
It was literally just the anniversary of the film, and instead of making it about Valentine's Day, they made it about something that is relevant to film.
Okay, I was very confused. I was like, I don't know what the correlation is here, so... But thank you.
Darksage says, you know what they should do for 100th anniversary? Have a show where all the Batman show up and say, I'm Batman, compete to see who's better.
Go ahead.
All I was going to say is if Kevin Conroy was still alive, I would almost be okay with that.
But then what I was going to say was, have you seen the trailer for the Flash movie? I mean, you're pretty much describing that right there. Like, it's going to happen. So.
This is true. All right, we got 2 releases for House of 1,000 Corpses coming out. Rob Zombie's film is getting a new steelbook and a interesting little almost box set that is a limited edition box set. The crazy thing is that this is not just releasing the disc. It's not going to be in 4K, which a lot of people are a little bit unhappy about, but they did get more features on here, which is something that a lot of people thought would never exist at all. This is getting cast and director interviews from many of the people involved. Some behind the scenes sets. We got, let's see, 5 on set behind the scenes segments. They are Dr. Satan test, Professor test, electronic press kit. Some other cool stuff on here. And then if you get the digital copy, there's also a new director's commentary, which is interesting. I actually really like this movie. Have you seen this one?
I'm not big on it, but yeah, I've seen it. When did I watch it? I think I watched it. I don't remember. I couldn't remember if it was in preparation for Crypticon a couple years ago when Sid Haig was there.
Yep.
And Bill Moseley was there. I think I watched it in preparation for that. Again, I wasn't like big on it, but I think it was because Captain Spaulding is not in it as much, and he was the best part of it. That intro is absolutely great.
Yep.
And extremely memorable. But I struggle with Rob Zombie's film work, I guess. I don't know, but
I'm an apologist. I don't think his stuff is always bad. I think some of his dialogue is pretty bad, and I don't know. You just kind of gotta be ready for that style when you go into it. That's the important part.
And I feel bad. I never finished Devil's Rejects, but I love the ending to it. If that makes any sense, the Freebird ending,
right? But you never finished it, but you know the ending.
I've seen the ending, but I didn't finish the movie. But that ending
is a great ending.
It's a great ending, yeah.
So let's see. There was a comment I was going to highlight, and Sibner said this is strange to put out after they had a Steelbook trilogy put out. Yes and no. Like, I don't think any of Zombies films are going to get a good catalog 4K release anymore. However, they did have the standalone Steelbook for the third film. So to put this out, it's not very surprising because I bet Devil's Rejects will probably get a Lionsgate Steelbook within the next year and a half now.
Probably.
Let's see. Sibner says, I think he's directing in the wrong decade. That, and instead of the Halloween remake, he should have been the one to direct the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake in 2003. He would have absolutely killed that movie.
Mm-hmm. So one thing I always like about Rob Zombie, though, in general, is his love for old classic horror. So that comment almost does ring true. He probably would have directed really well a long time ago.
Yeah, I guarantee he would have been great in the golden age of exploitation.
Not only in his films and his music, like I always think his music videos, like the Dragula video, Living Dead Girl, that's Caligari. Like, I think it's great. I love that about him. Even if I don't like his work, I do appreciate it about him.
Stan Geezy has stories to tell about Bill Moseley. Stan was involved with some stuff back in the day that we're going to be talking about here soon. Let's see. Next up is some new Sandpiper Pictures releases, which are an interesting eclectic mix this time. We get The Quiet American from 1958, and then Year of the Comet from 1992. And we finish it up with the modern classic of Bulletproof Monk with Chow Yun-Fat and Sean William Scott from 2003. The 3 of these are coming out on April 18th. And, oh, man, Sandpiper, I'm not sure what to think yet.
This is the Olive Films branch. Okay. Bulletproof Monk. Obviously never saw it, but as a kid when it came out, I remember seeing all the advertisements everywhere, and I always found it so strange that Stifler would be in a action movie starring Chow Yun-Fat. I always thought that was kind of odd. It just didn't seem like it worked, but I can't tell you anything about the movie. Otherwise, I don't know.
Love it. Another Steelbook that is coming out, also it's only Blu-ray. This is coming out exclusively to Walmart from Mill Creek on April 18th. This is the 2011 release of The Thing. This is the prequel to the John Carpenter film. And this is, again, not just a repackaging. This is an actual new disc where we are getting new features on this with some interesting things. We got some new featurettes called Who Goes There and What Goes There. And we got a commentary in this and all the same features that were on the original release. So it actually looks like a decent release. And I don't hate this movie. I think it's a decent prequel.
Again, I just haven't. It sits on my shelf waiting for me to watch it, but it's like I'd rather just watch the Carpenter one, like, you know.
Yes, but it's a part of that world. It's a
Right.
prequel. It's not a
I'll get
remake.
to it eventually. As all my things on my shelf that are sitting there unwatched, I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah. Paul says Chow Yun Fat deserved a better American run. Absolutely. Sibner, aren't they also adopting a lot of the former Twilight Time titles? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Thankfully.
I would love it if we can get more of those out. Like, again, on this journey of collecting the Best Picture stuff, there's a lot of really underseen ones that Twilight Time put out, and I'm not spending the money to get some of those.
Exactly.
But it'd be nice if they could get re-released through some of these. A go-to example is Bob Fosse's Lenny. That Blu-ray is mega expensive.
Yep.
It has a DVD. I can't find the DVD anywhere. I could buy it on eBay. But god dang it, if somebody could just send it out or put it out now, like, I'm instantly buying it, you know.
I would not be surprised if Sam Piper gets to it eventually. Paul says if they released the thing from 2011 with the CGI scrubbed out and the practical effects put in, I'd buy it. The hard part is that doesn't exist. They did not film the entire thing with practical effects and then just scrub over it with CGI. They stopped before they completed the film. So they saw that it was going to be too expensive and they did it with CGI. It doesn't exist. But Stan Geezy, he enjoyed the prequel, and I'm glad. Let's go to the next one. Not a whole lot left already. April 18th from Kino, You and Me from 1938. This gets a new commentary by Simon Abrams, who has done some stuff recently. And yeah, I don't know anything about this one either. I'm sure that this is a miss for you.
Yeah, but the thing is, when the title or the opening sentence says one of the earliest and quirkiest Hollywood ventures, and it's by Fritz Lang, you wouldn't think he'd be quirky because he's very serious. So I don't know. I know nothing of it either.
Yeah, I'm curious. Shout Factory's having their Love is in the Scare sale right now, and some of the titles are decently priced. It's nowhere near as good as the sale was in October, but some of them, if you're in the looking, this is a good time to buy something, so check it out.
I looked through there like I normally do. Obviously didn't buy anything, but I had to look through just in case. There was something that was like priced at a steal, but standard pricing, I feel like.
Yeah. Reminder that Erica Schultz from Unsung Horrors, her book is ending the Indiegogo run this weekend. When this was posted a couple days ago, there were 6 days left. I believe it ends on Sunday morning or Saturday night. So we're getting very close. If you have not picked up yours yet, it is looking to be an incredible book. And just a reminder to everybody to check it out. It is completely worth it.
I've seen you repost a bunch of clips, I think, over the last couple weeks on your Instagram of like from this of like children deaths. You have to laugh, like you can't just I feel like we had this conversation last year or maybe when they announced it, but either way, it was a go-to example for this was Beware Children at Play.
Yeah,
still get to pick up because that's got all the kid deaths at the end of it because they actually go through with it. But
yeah, you made Cam look up Lenny on eBay, and it's $170 at the moment.
Yes, I'm not spending that. I wish.
KB, what's going on? Listening more than watching because oh no, slipped on the ice.
Oof.
Are you all right? Holy hell, that sucks. It was not great in Kansas City today.
I woke up and I looked out the window. I'm like, I thought it was supposed to snow, and it looks like nothing out there. And then I hear about all this ice. I haven't been out today, but
we not to be a downer, but one of the high school teachers in my town here died in a car wreck today because of the icy conditions. Yeah,
that's scary. Oof.
Anyone read Peter Watts' The Things, which retells the Carpenter narrative from the Things perspective? That sounds super interesting.
A long time ago. I don't remember hardly anything about it, but yes, I have read that. But a long, long time ago.
Dead Sea Life says it was 65 in New York.
Oh.
Thanks.
All right.
Last night was fun. I'm going to spend a second on this one because last night was wild. We had Brad Henderson and Ryan Grave Face from TerraVision on here, and it was an interesting night. Was last night the night you were in here? Was that on Tuesday?
I was in on Tuesday, but I was listening. I was lurking last night as well.
Last night was so much fun. If you guys have not given the interview from last night a chance, please give it a moment. Some very interesting details. The fact that they were so transparent about the departure from OCN, the motivation behind what films they put out, the fact that we got an exclusive at the end of the chat, and I'm not even going to reveal it here, just so everybody can go and give it a watch just in case. But yeah, we are the only place that they've revealed that title is coming. So make sure that you give it an opportunity and a listen. It was really funny and a really good time, and I hope people liked it, because it's a good chat. And Brad and Ryan, they know their shit, like, for everything.
I missed the ending of it. I think I was there for about the first hour. So we'll have to go back and listen to see what this exclusive is. See what
it was only almost 3 hours long.
I assume it was a title announcement of some sort.
Yes, they did reveal a title.
Alrighty, I picked up Santa Claus from them because, again, that was on Best of the Worst. Not a great movie, but it was a watch, I guess. You know,
it's from Best of the Worst. That's exactly what you expect, I'm sure.
John Russo directed. Did you know? Oh, I was gonna tease. Did you know John Russo worked on Night of the Living Dead with George A. Romero?
That's awesome.
Did you know that?
I don't think I did.
If you didn't, watch Santa Claus, and you'll see the poster on almost every single shot of that movie. So,
Santa Claus looks very good for being shot on 16 mil. It is a nice restoration. I did pop it in to take a look at that. Yeah, it was a good time last night. Let's see. Wave is here. What's going on? Anthony says last night was absolutely amazing, insightful, and hilarious. We ended up the night with calling Ryan from TerraVision the mayor of Savannah, Georgia. Yes, Ryan is quite the entrepreneur. Dude has 7 locations, a museum, opening a mall location. It was a good time.
That's nuts.
All right, here is John's bread and butter. We got some Criterion announcements, and this happened in an interesting period for what they announced. We got a 4K coming of Wings of Desire. This notably does not have any HDR. It is just the 4K disc, no new features. I'm sure I know what you're going to say, but what do you think about Criterion with their version of re-releasing things on 4K recently?
Well, it's like any of the companies. I wish they would do it just less often. If they do 1 a month, maybe, okay, that's fine. 2, you're kind of pushing it, especially on some of these titles, because some of these titles I'm like, I don't care. My eyes are terrible, so half the time I can't tell the difference between 4K and Blu-ray anyway. But like, I just feel like some of the titles they put these out for, it's like, okay, like, all right, I don't know. But I'll be content with my Blu-ray. Once again, I've not seen this. I love Paris, Texas, though.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm gonna like anything that Vendors puts out. So I'm not gonna upgrade this, but I'm anxious to finally get around to watching it.
My feeling on this, which I don't know if I said this last month when we discussed it, because we discuss it every month, it feels like, it would make me just as, I don't know, like, I don't know the right way to say it, because I'm not like unhappy that they're doing it. I just wish that it wasn't replacing other titles, because the way Criterion has always done it, there is basically one title for every week of the month. You can count on that like clockwork, basically. Yeah. If you were to be doing 4K upgrades, I don't care if you do 2 or 3 every month, but put it in addition to the titles that we were already getting.
Nice.
Now, I also got to give them some slack a little bit, because I know that they've had a rough couple of years and that they've had to cut some people, and and
there's been some issues late into the game. I remember when the 4K announcements finally came out. You guys on here really going deep on that, but I don't know. Like I said, yeah, I wish they would do it in addition. You're right, because they usually put out about 5 every month, And if they do 3 plus the 2, it's like, okay, well, that's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
They're not as bad as like Shout Factory is doing right now. They're
true.
going a little overboard. Because once again, I'm in the camp of like, does that really need to be in 4K? I mean, it's perfectly fine the way it is, but what do I know, right? My eyes are terrible. But yeah, I don't know.
I will stand by the fact that I do think every single movie should be preserved and released in the highest quality possible. So I have nothing against that necessarily. However, we still have so many titles not on Blu-ray, so many titles that have never made it to DVD.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
That's again where I don't know. I'm sure we've talked about it before, but that's where I struggle with just 4K in general, because it's like, I don't know, like it's still such a niche market, and I think people still struggle to realize that the 4K market is still so tiny that not everything needs to put out with that, and then they should try to focus efforts on other things first. We can still slowly get things in, but I don't know. It's tough. I guess that's why I'm not a corporate member of a Blu-ray company.
Right, and the sad thing is, it's not quite as niche as it was. People are demanding pretty much everything on 4K now, which sucks because that's not going to happen. It's not realistic.
Right.
The difference between a 4K UHD restoration and putting something out with a 2K scan, it's not just a really simple thing to do. If there's already a 4K scan from a studio, it's not as simple as choosing just to put it on a 4K disc. It is expensive. It is expensive as hell. So I don't know.
The discs are so expensive too. So that's another reason that I'm like, I can't justify buying 4K all the time. Now on some of the boutique stuff that I have bought, and I've kind of slowed down a little bit, but depending on the title, I'll buy the 4Ks. Now on the Criterion, I've bought, I think, I would say most of their 4Ks. I'm still behind on a few of them, but I don't know.
I agree. Hey, Dylan, I would watch the hell out of a 28 Days Later 4K. I absolutely would.
Tying it in with Lynch, if they couldn't do it with Inland Empire, I don't know how they're going to do it with 28 Days Later. So
they'll make it work. Another re-release from Criterion on May 9th. We are getting Branded to Kill. This is the Seijun Suzuki title. Again, nothing new, no special features. I would be thrilled for them to do anything new with the 4Ks, but it seems like they have no interest in even attempting to do anything new for the 4Ks.
I think it almost goes back to what you're saying is everybody wants everything in 4K, so let's just release stuff.
Right.
Because they'll buy it.
The hard part, and I said this, I think I might have said this to Troy Howarth this week. It is hilarious that they're putting these out like this, because in all reality, it's Criterion. Most of the people that are contributing to these releases or have podcasts or YouTube channels or are people that are trying to be film critics or what have you, many of them would be thrilled to do an audio commentary or a visual essay for Criterion, and most of them would do it for free for at least the first few. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't have to do a damn thing. Just say, hey, try it out. If we don't like it, we're not even going to use it. You can get more content for these.
Oh yeah, and like you said, even just one extra feature. Now, I'm not one of those that goes hard on the special features, but like even just something to make it worth that extra $10 upgrade.
Right.
Besides just the picture quality.
I agree. By the way, Dylan, I was teasing. Obviously, 28 Days Later should not be on 4K. That's why I said the best quality possible. However, this is pretty damn exciting.
I'm looking forward to this one.
Criterion is releasing the 1968 Peter Bogdanovich film Targets with Boris Karloff. Also, I don't know if everybody saw this because it wasn't posted as news necessarily, but BFI is supposedly still releasing their release. They said that I think it was in a comment on this, they did not cancel their release. They just did not want to delay it like 9 times until the elements were okay. So they just said, for now, it's off the schedule. and it is still coming supposedly, and it will be cheaper than this. And they did say something about there being different special features. So I am very, very excited that this is coming out, and that means BFIs will probably be coming out now before the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward. I've heard of the title before, but I did not really know anything about the movie. But this is right up my alley. I love the concept of it. The plot sounds great.
Yeah.
Bogdanovich is good. You got old Karloff. Yeah, sounds good.
For anybody that has never heard of what Targets is, this says this is produced by Roger Corman, and this chillingly prescient vision of American-made carnage casts Boris Karloff as a version of himself, an aging horror movie icon whose fate intersects with that of a seemingly ordinary young man on a psychotic shooting spree around Los Angeles. Charged with provocative ideas about the relationship between mass media and mass violence, Targets is a model of maximally effective filmmaking on a minimal budget and a potent first statement from one of the defining voices of the American New Wave. I mean, I know that I saw this years ago. I've obviously never seen it in high definition, and I just cannot wait to see this in 2023 and see how it hits. I mean, the fact that this is God, what are we at? 55? Yeah, 55 years old, and it's still, it's still this piece of cinematic history that is a very important big deal and is so like gross to think about, that this industry has been such a problem for so long. I mean, we say that the same week that we had another shooting that has made national headlines, and I don't know how many people saw some of the videos that are going around. Like there is somebody that was at Michigan State that had went to Sandy Hook Elementary and has now survived 2 of these mass shootings that made national headlines. Like, that is terrifying that somebody is living this type of life. I don't know. I don't want to stand on a soapbox for too long, but there's something going on here, and obviously it's something that we need to fix.
The movie looks fascinating. I'm looking for that.
I agree.
I love that era of that American New Wave is like one of my all-time with a lot of people, but absolutely love it.
Yeah, Bogdanovich is great. This next one is one that I am pretty unhappy about.
Really?
May 23rd, we are getting Petite Maman from Criterion. And yes, this is the follow-up to A Portrait of a Lady on Fire. And I'm glad that this is getting a release. Nothing against that. However, this is like a 69 or 70-minute movie or whatever
like
it is.
75, maybe.
And the only thing on here is a conversation between the director and Joachim Trier. That's it. And they are charging a $40 MSRP for this.
Have people complained about it yet?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, the only reason why I ask is because there was their release of the Inland Sea. When they announced that, they did the same thing. They're like, we're doing the $40 charge. It's bare bones. There's nothing on it. Yep. And people complained, and then they lowered it down to the $30. So it's like, okay, but yeah, this probably should be a $30 one, $30 Blu-ray if it's that bare bones.
Well, that, and again, it's only a 70-minute movie.
And they've released some other short movies too, but at that normal price. But I imagine they're more stacked.
Absolutely.
Another example, I think it's Black Girl. I think that's a 60-minute movie, like right on the dot. But I imagine that has a lot of features to go along with it, so it's probably worth $40 if you pay it that price. But yeah, this probably should go down in price. I didn't even look close enough to know what features it had on it. But when I saw they announced it, same thing. That should be the lower price.
I'm glad that we're getting the movie. I've got nothing against that whatsoever. And
I want to see it.
I think I have the movie release of this already.
Okay.
Let me check.
I had read it was on Hulu, and I did not realize that because I think a lot of the Neon stuff is on Hulu. This is a Neon distributed movie, I think, right?
I
think so.
I think so.
I think so. And Portrait of a Lady on Fire is incredible. So again, if anybody's ever seen any of her other works, definitely check that one out. I understand this one's quite the tearjerker as well. So I'm very happy to see it. But yeah,
yes,
not that price.
I'm all about that. This looks like I bet it's a great movie. I got nothing against them putting it out. I just, come on.
Yeah,
There should be more on there. Make it a double pack with Portrait, like they did with Yojimbo. That would have been great.
Yeah.
Wave says definitely needs more special features. KB says Arsenic and Old Lace was pretty bare bones, but I mean, not exactly. That at least had a commentary, and in fact, I think
if you don't have it, I can go grab it.
I think it's close. Let me see. I didn't have the radio adaptation on it as well.
I can go grab it. Let me see.
Let's see. Video store. What's going on? Eric just watched it on Hulu, so maybe it's still on there.
So this release had new audio commentary featuring Charles Dennis, author of There's a Body in the Window Seat, the radio adaptation from 1952 starring Boris Karloff, a trailer, and English subtitles, plus an essay by David Cairn.
So it had a full-length commentary, and it also had the radio adaptation. I mean, I don't know how long this conversation is because they don't really give us that information before it comes out. But I mean, at least that had. I got the commentary for Arsenic is longer than the film on this. I think so, if I remember right. I think that's because that's almost a 2-hour movie. Anyways,
yeah. I just want to. I see the comment here at Home Criterion Closet. Yeah, so right there, those are all Criterion up and down. So, kinda like a closet.
If anybody's interested, friend of the channel Nathan Jones, who's been on here many times, he just built himself his own Criterion closet, put up a video on it and everything. Make sure you go check out his stuff because it looks great. And then finally, Criterion, the last week in May, on May 30th, we are getting Thelma and Louise from 1991. And this is getting a 4K release, and I'm very happy about it. So I really enjoy this movie, always have. Saw this probably way too young. But also, I mean, Ridley Scott back in the collection. He was in the collection originally on Laserdisc, I think.
Probably, yeah. I don't think he's had anything else on DVD or Blu-ray, at least.
Yeah,
I'm looking for it too. I've never seen it, but again, I welcome these like mainstream release titles in here. I'm okay with that. I know some people get really snobby about it, but I want to see it absolutely.
Yeah. This is a wonderful movie and really great cover art. This is one of those that I would love for Criterion to release like 5 or 8 posters every year. Even though as much as I rip on that Godzilla collection, that poster would look incredible on anybody's wall.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this looks amazing. I would love to have this as a poster. Lots of special features on this. We got multiple commentaries, 2 audio commentaries, new interviews, a documentary. We've got Scott's first short film from all the way back in 1965. We got storyboards, deleted and extended scenes, a music video, trailers, and then new essays, which is just great. Like, this is a strong release, and it's entering the collection on 4K. I would love to see at least 1 to 3 like this every single month.
Yes, if we're gonna say you're putting titles out in 4K, then do it this way. Exactly. If you're gonna do upgrades, limit it. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to it as well.
In Fight Club, Sivner, he's very skinny. I wouldn't say he's jacked necessarily, but I'm also just the fat white guy calling Brad Pitt not jacked. I don't know.
Yeah, he's kind of average.
Justin says, I think Mondo released the Godzilla art as a poster, and it probably cost like $1,500 now. Good. I had no idea. Mondo posters, they go up in price exponentially.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So TerrorVision, they were on the channel yesterday, and they announced 2 titles coming available for pre-order next Tuesday. We get Copperhead, the Snake movie. This is from all the way back in 1984. And they are doing a new transfer on the tape master for the shot on video oddity. And it will also have a bonus lost film called Motorhome from Hell, which, as they talked about it last night, sounds incredible. Then they're also going to be putting up End of the Line, which, if you have not seen the trailer for this movie, go give it a look because it looks fantastic. This is from back in 2007, and this was the same director that did Slasher, I think it was called, or Slashers, one of the two. And Brad on Twitter had somebody ask if they had any chance of putting out Slashers, and he didn't say yes. However, very coyly, he said something like, well, miracles can happen, or something like that. So it seemed like we may be getting some more of those old presented by Fangoria titles, which would be very interesting. I'm eager to see this one because Brad said that this was a very, like, one of the scariest movies he's ever seen.
Really? Okay. I pulled it up here on my YouTube, so I'll be sure to watch that trailer.
Nice.
When we're
From what I could see yesterday, though, the trailer's very low quality.
Well,
I gotta admit.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay.
All right. Speaking of upgrades to Criterion titles, oh my God, does this look like an upgrade? So Second Sight on May 1st is giving us a 4K release of Picnic at Hanging Rock from 1975, and the art on this set is glorious. This looks amazing. And for anybody that doesn't know, the synopsis on this says, on Saturday, the 14th of February, 1900, a party of schoolgirls from Appleyard College picnicked at Hanging Rock near Mount Macedon in the state of Victoria. During the afternoon, several members of the party disappeared without a trace. On this, we are getting a new Second Sight 4K restoration from the OCN, supervised and approved by the director Peter Weir and the DP Russell Boyd. This is going to have 2 4K discs and 2 Blu-ray discs. Both are going to have special features. There is a restored version of both the director's cut and the theatrical cut. There will be HDR on the discs. There is an audio commentary by Alexandra Heller-Nicholas and Josh Nelson. New interview with actor Karen Robson. New interview with the cinematographer. New interview with the camera operator. And something beyond explanation, Thomas Caldwell on Picnic at Hanging Rock. And a full feature-length documentary on the film. And this just looks remarkable. I mean, there's also a softcover book with new essays by Daniel Bird, Kat Ellinger, and Justine Smith, archival essays. And then on top of all that, this includes the original novel with exclusive cover art by the same artist that is doing the rest of the packaging. This looks amazing.
Oh, yeah. I wish my wallet was thick enough to get all these, because anytime Second Sight announces something, I want it, and then I look at the price and I'm like, I can wait. I don't need it. You know. But yeah, it looks amazing. I like Peter Weir. I like some of the stuff I've seen from him. Just once again, I haven't taken the time to watch this one yet. But
the good thing on the Second Sight stuff is they announced the standard edition the exact same time as the limited edition. And if you want just the movie on 4K, you can pre-order it right now from Grindhouse, from Diabolic, and I think even Orbit. So yeah, it's amazing. This looks like a fantastic release. Second Sight, absolutely killing it. And that is it. That is all of the new releases for this week, which it was a pretty light week overall for
I know, I was bummed when I was looking through that it was so short. I was like, I was ready to talk for at least 2 hours on these things, you know, but
we still might be 2 hours. It's still only been 70 minutes. So
that's fine. I'm down.
After this, we always go over what is coming out next week. So let's dive into that. Next Tuesday, we have the Magnificent 7 4K from Shout Factory, Dazed and Confused 4K from Criterion, the Slumber Party Massacre 1 and 2 4K double pack coming from Scream Factory, Dragonheart 4K coming from Shout Factory, Remains of the Day 4K coming from the studio, Magnificent Warriors coming from 88 Films, Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit 4K coming from Paramount, The Hunter coming from Kino, the Jess Franco 4Ks coming from Blue Underground, Station 11 4K, the miniseries, is coming from Paramount as well. The Crimson Rivers coming from Kino, which I am dying to see. That's one I need to look into. Sci-fi and thrillers from the vault coming from Mill Creek. Requiem for a Heavyweight coming from Mill Creek, the Silent Avant-Garde set coming from Kino, which is another one I need to look at. Broker finally getting a physical release in the US, and I'm dying to see that one as well. Definitely need to look at that. Werewolf of Washington coming from Kino, another one I'm eager to see. The Old Way, Nicolas Cage's first Western, which is supposedly really bad, but I still kind of want to see it. Let's see, The Retaliators, the one that we talked about last week, that is already coming out. I think that's Ring-a-Ding Rhythm, which is I believe that's a Kino release coming. That's one that I'm going to be looking at as well. But I think that's it for the heavy hitters for next week.
Nothing here looks too crazy, at least.
Anything that you're jumping into quickly?
Of these, I mean, I'm not going to be picking up anything of these right away. I could upgrade my Dazed and Confused. I just have the DVD of that.
Yeah.
Slumber Party Massacre, I'll stick with my Blu-rays because that 2 and 3 feature was always so expensive. I'm assuming it still is.
It will be, yeah.
And Remains of the Day, I have that just on DVD because it's a Best Picture nominee, and I don't really care for the Merchant Ivory stuff, so no on that.
Totally get it. All right. We are now going to transfer into some David Lynch stuff. Woo. And to make it personal, why don't you share your history with David Lynch?
So let's take us back. Oh my gosh, I'm big screen now. Back in 1998, 99, he made a movie called The Straight Story. And I've shared this on here before, but I'll share it again. That movie was filmed in my hometown of Lorenz, Iowa. And so I was 5, 6 at that time. And when they were announced that they were making the filming of it, my family were very interested in wanting to see, obviously, the stars. And it was so Richard Farnsworth and Sissy Spacek, and actually watch them film. So, we went down there every night, like after school, or it might have been like late summer. So, those like late summer nights, and go and watch them film. And because of that, at such a young age, I just became so fascinated with everything with film, whether it be the making of it, obviously who was in it, just films in general. So it's odd to say that a 6-year-old was very influenced by The Straight Story and David Lynch, but I'm one of those people. So yes, that movie means a lot to me, and I'll be very happy to share more about it later. And Mr. Ryan is muted.
Whoops. I'm still trying to get over my stupid sinus thing, so I've had to clear my throat like 19 times on mute already. I am ashamed to admit I still have not watched A Straight Story, even though you have recommended it like 512.
I want to watch it with you, so I've told you that. I want to watch it with you, so hold off until we are able to get together and watch it.
Absolutely, that is on the list for sure. My history with David Lynch, I was trying to think of this earlier. I can't remember what the first one I watched was. It was probably Mulholland Drive. It seems like it was right because I saw like the famous scene, and after that, it was like, well, this looks compelling as hell. I definitely want to see the rest of the movie. And from there, I don't remember what came first. I know that there's still a couple that I've not seen. I still have not ever seen Inland Empire all the way through. I've seen parts of it, but it's just not, I don't know. It's not one that I can really grab a hold of.
It's so difficult. I'm so excited for the Criterion release to come out because I'm going to force myself to watch it again. Because I watched that. I think it's been almost 5 years at this point since I watched that one. And I remember the night I turned it on, or I put the DVD in, and I was like, okay, this is 3 hours on the dot. You got this. And I kept checking the time, and I'd be like, okay, I'm an hour in. Keep going. Like, we got this. 2 hours in. I'm like, oh my God. I'm through. I'm almost there. And it's like 2 hours 45. It's like, I'm almost there. I'm going to do this, Yeah. But holy cow, that's a hard watch. It's really hard to recommend.
It really is. And again, I still haven't even seen the entire thing, so it's one that I really want to like. And Lynch overall is not even like one of my favorites, but I have like this immense respect for most things that he's done.
Yeah,
And David Lynch is, the film bros have really grabbed a hold of David Lynch and made him like their champion. But
yeah.
it's an interesting, touchy subject because David Lynch is not somebody that you can just like mosey into and hang out for a minute and be fine with it and then leave. It's somebody that to even really grasp, you kind of have to dive in really hard.
You have to dive in really hard, and I hate to say it, it's not homework, but really reading up on some things and then rewatching and revisiting multiple times does help immensely on certain movies. Which again, we might get into that further as the night goes on here, our conversation gets on. But yeah, like I said, when Film Bros got so attached to it, that was me at college because I went to school for film, and that was always my like, I was in the hometown of the Stray Story. You ever heard of that one? And of course nobody ever heard of that one. I'm like, it's David Lynch. Hello. And then, oh, okay. But so I was trying to make my in.
Eric says, watched Inland Empire twice in the theater. Not my favorite, but really looking forward to seeing it again. And then following that up, Sibner says, went and saw Inland Empire opening weekend, and this was December, so the heat was on high. I fell asleep multiple times.
I can believe it. I mean, it's just a nightmare, literally, to watch.
Right.
And the thing that makes it such a nightmare is because I think the way he filmed it, he literally didn't have a script for it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So he just made it up as he went. So it's so not cohesive.
Will, you do not have to join every time and say, hello, it's Will. I do have a memory, I promise. And also, hello, I love you. Jeremy Long, also, hello, I love you. I'm glad you're here.
Hello.
We are about to break into David Lynch. So the thing that I framed very specifically when we were talking about what we were going to discuss, I said our 5 favorite Lynch projects, which with Lynch, it makes perfect sense to frame it like that because it's not just a film necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on, Kubrick lover? Hello.
Hello.
So let's go into Lynch as a whole. So you started very young with Lynch, and obviously Lynch has, we'll say, slowed down quite a bit. I'm going to ask, do you think he has any masterpieces left in him?
I really hope so. There's all the rumors of the supposed Wisteria project that he's supposed to be doing, and then all the stuff with the rumors with Netflix.
Yep.
Because he put out, or they released that, what did Jack do? Did you ever watch that one with the monkey?
I did not, but I heard it was pretty fun.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Like, it's up his alley. It's weird. So there's all these rumors, and then I was reading today something about like all these like cast members that were involved in Twin Peaks were cryptically tweeting over the last year like the same phrase, and it's like it gives me hope that's gonna happen, but I just don't know. I mean, I'll believe it when I see it, I guess, but I really hope one final thing. I mean, Twin Peaks: The Return is a masterpiece, and if that's the last thing he does, then wonderful. But I would love just one more movie, just one more film.
I feel like he's got one more in him, and then after that, he'll retire to tell us the weather, and that's it.
And he hasn't done a weather report in like a month and a half. I feel terrible because when Angelo Badalamenti passed away, I think that hit him really hard. And after that, he just hasn't done anything with that.
Right.
But Video Store Review says it perfectly. Like, and that was something I was wanting to touch was one thing that makes Lynch and his project so good is the score. Yeah. Without it, it wouldn't hit as hard. It's
I mean, most of I don't want to say any titles because most of the ones that I'm going to mention tonight, the score itself is The score is instrumental. That was a very bad pun and unintended until I heard it out loud. Yeah. The score itself is instrumental to my enjoyment of the film. It is
absolutely,
especially again. We'll talk about the scores in a minute. Damn it! I don't want to give any of these away. Let's just start then. What is let's start with your number 5 for your list of favorite Lynch projects.
Okay, I'm gonna cheat.
You always do. That makes sense.
I know. I'm sorry. I've got notes here on my left, so if I look over to the left, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's so hard to pick just 5 because he only has 10 films. All right, and I know we said projects, but he has 10 films.
Yep.
So picking just half of it's hard. So one, I'm just going to clump all the remaining 5 together. Okay, let's get rid of Dune. I watched Dune tonight for the first time, actually. So in preparation for this, and
how was viewing that for the first time in 2023?
Very difficult. I very much liked the Villeneuve version of it. I loved that one, and it helped having my stepdad watch it with me because he is a massive fan of the book. So we watch it together. He's sitting there explaining a lot of things to me, and of course that helped my experience a lot. But I really enjoyed that version. Watching this one tonight, it's tough. It's a hard watch. It's not terrible. It's just really flawed.
Makes sense.
But so with that though, the other 4, I guess. So if I had to include them all together, I guess I won't say them because I don't want to spoil what my top 5 would be.
Exactly.
My top ones would be. So it's his other stuff that I'm not going to mention. We're going to clump it all into one category. So yeah, we'll get to there.
So what is number 5 favorite project then?
If I had to choose of those, we're gonna just say like Elephant Man, because that's not going to be in my top 4. But Elephant Man it's very obviously tame. It still has the weird surrealness aspect to it, but not by much. I love the John Hurt performance. It makes me cry at the end. It's just sad. Like it's just a good story. The fact that I love the fact that Mel Brooks produced it as well. That whole story is great. It's just a really good film. Again, yeah, that'd be my 5 if I had to pick that one.
It is good. Yeah, I understand that. Elephant Man is interesting. It's not my 5, but it's a good solid film.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of comments I want to highlight before I do my 5.
Please.
Distorted Vision says, do you think that Lynch took a break from Weather Report to work on his next project? Just a theory. The hard part is I think that's been a theory like 4 times. There was that really popular rumor that Laura Dern's going to Cannes. So David Lynch was also off from Weather Report for like 2 months. I bet they're going to be doing something together. And then
I was in that theory and the rumors all the time with the Cannes Film Festival. Like I was so set it was going to happen. And then in the Weather Reports, he grew his hair and his beard out really long. Instantly thought that was for something. And I had thought maybe that was for Fabelmans, which I haven't seen yet, but he's not sporting a beard in that as far as I can tell. So it wasn't that. So yeah, I don't know what the purpose of that was for, but
speaking of that, I love the name dropping Jeremy Long. He says Spielberg told me a great story about David Lynch and getting him to be in the Fabelmans. Jeremy Long last weekend spent a day with Paul Thomas Anderson and Steven Spielberg in one day.
Brag, Jeremy. Just giving you crap.
My number 5 favorite project. Funny enough, I think either the show last night or the show on Tuesday, I happened to wear a shirt from this one. And I'm going to go with Eraserhead. I love this movie. It is first off, all of these are going to be weird. None of these are like normal, easy to digest cinema pieces. Eraserhead is one that I do think I saw it early in his oeuvre when I consumed it, and I'm glad that I did. I think if I watched some of the other heavy hitters before Eraserhead, I probably would appreciate it a little less, just because of how it hits nowadays. And I kind of think that happened with Elephant Man for me, because I did see that one later than most of the others, and I don't like it as much for sure.
Eraserhead, so I watched that again for the first time a few years ago, and then every fiber of me hated doing this today. I skimmed through it while I was working because work was really boring, and I wanted just a quick refresher. And so I've got a TV right next to me, so I went through it, refreshed my memory on everything. And the thing that makes Eraserhead just so good in a way. It's just how funny it is. It's
Yep.
so darkly funny because you have Henry, who is this like weird Chaplin-esque character, and the way he walks and waddles, and I love it's at the beginning, the gag where he gets in the elevator. Like, it's just funny, and you don't know whether or not you should be laughing or not. And then with the chicken, and of course the baby. So what do you think the baby is made out of? He's never publicly said what that baby is made out of.
I mean, it's a great question. I have no clue. Looking at it even now in like really great high def, it's not something that you can easily pick out or anything like that.
The one that always sticks out to me is somebody has said it's a dead rabbit. I don't know. It's so bizarre.
Very well could be.
And if the chat has anything that they can say of what the baby was in Eraserhead, please let us.
Sibner says, I mean, probably a real baby. God, I hope not.
I hope not either. I hope not.
Eraserhead is weird. It's like a fever dream. And then the other thing, as I was recounting some of these today, it just sort of hit me. Eraserhead is 46 years old.
I know, right?
That is insanity.
And it looks great.
Yeah.
It really does. That's 77. So,
yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think of like, obviously Star Wars out that same time, but like, so we have decent quality movies, but like for as low budget and as painstakingly long it took him to make that film.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. The only thing I noticed today rewatching was, you can see a string when he pulls the sperm baby out of his mouth. Like, you can see a string, but okay, that's not going to hinder my watching of it. But yeah, good. It's a good one. Would I say start with Eraserhead? Probably not. But
Justin says in one of his commentaries, he tells the story about cutting a dead cat open, and that's what inspired the scene with the baby guts. So maybe a dead cat.
God, gross.
Could be. Dylan, I heard that ILM made the Eraserhead baby with the power of the computer.
Maybe.
Oh man. Yeah. So Eraserhead, if you've never seen it, the Criterion disc, it looks great. This is one that I would not be surprised if they tried to put out some deluxe 4K of this here soon. Yeah. They're again probably not going to do anything different for bonus features, although it's Lynch and they are best buds, so who knows.
I'd be okay with it because I just have the DVD Criterion release of it, so I'll upgrade, but I'm sure it would look very good with that black and white. So.
Oh yeah, I bet it would. All right, what's your number 4 favorite Lynch project?
We're gonna go with Blue Velvet. So this was after Straight Story, the next Lynch film I ever saw.
Before you continue, my number 4 is Blue Velvet.
Excellent. All right, great minds think alike.
Yep.
So I actually ended up watching this in college. That's how long it took me to watch in between. Great mystery. And this is a great start for Lynch. If you have to start with something of his, if you're unsure where to start with, do you want something quote normal, or do you want?
It's one of the most normal. Yeah.
This is a good combination of everything. Great mystery. You got entry characters that you're going to see in many of his other projects with Kyle MacLachlan, Laura Dern. I think Dean Stockwell makes some appearances and other stuff. Yep. Well, he was in Dune tonight, but he's in this. Of course, we never got any more Dennis Hopper. I can't imagine Dennis Hopper in anything later, Lynch. That'd be amazing. But I love the mystery to it all. And like the coming of age kind of story of it too, if you look further into that, because he's this young kid coming home. Harry Dean Stanton. I don't think he's not in Blue Velvet, but yes, I love Harry Dean Stanton. We'll talk about him later. But again, the coming of age where he's coming home as this young kid and he is thrown into this awful adult world instantly. And yeah, it's just a good one. I don't know what more you want to add on that. And you're highlighting comments here too, and I want to read them.
Yeah. So Blue Velvet, one of my favorites, primarily because it is just like we just said a moment ago. Like, this is one of the easiest stories to relate to, kind of.
Yeah. It's
as
an easier
much
story
as
to follow, because
yes,
that's a criticism a lot of people have about him is,
yeah,
oh, this stuff's just so hard to follow. And what I said earlier was it's kind of like, I hate to say it, you have to do homework where you have to rewatch it a couple times, maybe read up on some things. Blue Velvet,
yeah,
you really don't have to do that. You can pick up on everything in one sitting. And you get an amazingly terrifying Dennis Hopper. Like, everybody knows Frank Booth as one of the scariest villains ever. And for good reason.
yeah. I don't know why, but I've always been a big fan of Kyle MacLachlan. Like in everything that he turns up, I'm like, I love this guy. He's just so fantastic,
I
and
love him
it is odd to see him in this movie doing the things that he does, and it's odd that he's in Dune and others. Anyways, I really enjoy him in this. I think kind of understated. Isabella Rossellini is fantastic in this.
so
This
good.
is this is a movie that is not necessarily easy compared to the just generic dramas of the day, but for Lynch, this is kind of his generic drama, and it's
Yeah.
one that is uh, easy on the eyes, easy on the ears, easy on the mind, and one that I probably have rewatched more than all but one, actually, as far as films.
I've seen
It's
this one more than a couple times too. Just because, like you said, it's just an easier watch and doesn't take a whole lot of effort. And a film that Roger Ebert famously also hated. So,
of course,
you know.
yeah, that's how it goes sometimes, sadly. What is your number three? I'm curious how many others we have identical now.
We'll see, I guess. Oh, my number three, we're gonna go back to the beginning. We're gonna go with Straight Story, and I am once again was so delighted Imprint put this out, because just anything other than the DVD is perfect. I wish this was so bad. Just get the Criterion release, but I will wait patiently. I'm only 30. I got plenty of years ahead of me to wait on that. What makes Straight Story so good, though, is just that it's just so straight. It's so wholesome. It's so heartwarming. And the fact that it was in my hometown and it was such a formative experience, because there's scenes early on in the beginning that, once again, if I sit there and I watch it with you, I'm going to try to shut my mouth and be like, I was there for that, or I was there for that. I'm standing right there for that. And then the fact that I was almost supposed to be in it as well.
Yeah.
There's a scene near the beginning, about 15 minutes in, where Sissy Spacek she's looking out a window, and there's this little boy that walks up. There's a ball that rolls in her front yard. He goes and picks up the ball. He stands there for a second. He walks off screen. That was supposed to be me, and I wish so bad it would have been me, because that would have been a fun reveal here on here. But again, the thing that I think I like it so much too is just it has that weird. It's still surreal in a weird way, even though it is very realistic. There's still that surreal undertone to it, and it's because of the characters that Alvin meets along the way. And again, you haven't seen it, so if I name off characters, you're not gonna know who they are. But like the most famous one is the Deer Lady. There's a woman that he comes across that hits a deer in front of him, and she gets out and she screams and all this stuff, and she goes on, and her whole thing is they come out of the field, I never see them, and where do they come from? And she feels like she belongs out of Twin Peaks.
Yep.
Really does. My only gripe I have with the film as a whole is some of the dialogue is questionable, and that's only because I'm from there and I can criticize that. So there's some things that they say that I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like, all right, but
Anthony wants some clarification. How did you miss being immortalized in the film Straight Story?
If memory serves me right, we were literally, because we would go down to the shoots a lot and watch from a distance.
Yep.
And so my mom is very outgoing and makes friends with everybody and anybody. And so we made friends with some of the crew. And in many ways, like, one, the crew, so my grandma also owned a consignment store. And so the blue jeans that Richard Farnsworth wears in the film for the entire film are my dad's, because they needed a certain brand, size, whatever, and my grandma had them in her shop. And then, like I said, we were down there every single night watching them shoot the film. So we just kind of got to know them. And I was the right age. I was obviously very fascinated with it all. And when we got there late, it was at the beginning of, if people can remember, early on, there's a storm sequence. And we got there and they're like, "Where were you? We were waiting for you as long as we could. And we wanted you in this scene." Now, would I have done it? I don't know, because I was so shy as a little kid.
Right.
I probably would have been like, "Oh, no, I don't want to do it." But I have to hope I would have, because I loved it at that time. I would have been all over it. There's a lot of helicopter shots of fields as well, and like we got to go visit the helicopters and see all the cameras they use and stuff. Like I was that fascinated with it all. So yeah, it's a bit of a bummer. It was always going to be my like two truths and a lie, was I was in an Oscar nominated film. But yeah, this is one that people don't talk about a whole lot, just because it wasn't so accessible for a while there. You had the DVD. It's on Disney Plus if people do want to check it out. Obviously, this Blu-ray imprint, I don't know. I never know. So when these go sell out, are there standard editions of it, or is it just the slipcover that's out?
It depends on the title. Sometimes they do standard, sometimes they do not.
I had no idea what this one had. Because I pre-ordered this the second it went up.
I would not imagine that one didn't get a standard. I'm pretty sure it did, because it's Lynch.
Yeah,
but not entirely sure.
Yeah, I love it. As a kid, I always kind of didn't like it because it was so boring, and everyone hates it because, well, that's not what our town is like. But it's very good. I, again, will recommend for anybody watching. Good. I can go on talking about it longer. So,
I gotta highlight Simner's comment just because this is hilarious. I met Kyle MacLachlan at Bon Jovi's Labor Day party. He was exactly how you expect him to be. I mean, what the hell? I love these comments. You guys are amazing. Let's Labor Day party. Then we got video store review. I'm going to save your comment for just a second, because my number 3 is, it's funny how American audiences sleep on Wild at Heart. It's much more popular in Europe. The only one of his films to win the Palme d'Or. I love Wild at Heart. It is my number 3. And this is the one, before we went live, that I told you I was going to go grab the other release.
Oh, okay.
I've got the Shout Factory release, but this German media book is insanity. For those that have never seen it,
show it off. I want to see it.
I'm going to make this solo because this is such a wild cover. Look at this thing. This is not what you would expect for some art style for Wild at Heart, and it looks fantastic. Love this thing. Still sealed because I didn't get it this long ago, and I'd watched the Shout Factory release right before I got this one in. I love this movie. It is fantastic. I love most of the cast. I think Nicolas Cage is incredible. I think Laura Dern is remarkable in this. We have some other heavy hitters that have always made me happy. I mean, when you're talking about David Lynch and weirdo films, the fact that we have Nicolas Cage, Willem Dafoe, and Crispin Glover in a movie together directed by David Lynch, it's like walking cocaine. I don't even know how to explain how manic some of this had to have been on set. This movie is a miracle that it exists with this cast. On top of all that, Diane Ladd is in this. Isabella Rossellini is back. Harry Dean Stanton is in this. Just a remarkable movie. I brought this one up with Will just 2 weeks ago because I think the romance in this is genuinely inspiring. How much they are all about each other. They are two people just so in love that there is nothing else that exists in the world to them. Unfortunately, there is some pretty intense scenes that allow this movie to not end in the way that they wanted it to end. And I love this movie. I think that the final act is one of Lynch's best endings in anything that he's done. I think it is magnificently shot, especially that third act. I think that the effects that they use with the whole shotgun scene is remarkable. It is so good.
For anybody curious about that, and if you've not seen this and you don't know what we're talking about, I'm going to keep it vague. One of the best head explosions ever put to screen.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not Scanners level, and it's not Maniac level, but it's up there. And I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to say any more. But
yeah. This movie, for anybody that's not seen it, like I think the Shout Factory release is still in print and very cheap and easy to get, and you absolutely need to see this. I saw this movie probably second or third out of a lot of his movies, and it has just always stuck with me. This movie is kind of a masterpiece for me.
and it's slept on because it's just not a popular title. That's literally the only reason why. It's just there's so many other of his films that people are going to want to discuss more. But it's another great one. Willem Dafoe, Bobby Peru is so creepy. Like,
yep.
Oh yeah, we still are. What's
absolutely still talking about Wild at Heart, Silent Mandible. This is so worth it.
Yeah, Bobby Peru is one of the creepiest Lynch villains. He's not Frank Booth levels, but he's up there.
Yeah.
And the sequence at the bank where you've got him being psycho and you've got Nick Cage going full psycho. Yeah, you can't match that energy anywhere else.
And again, this media book, as soon as I saw this was like a must own. And it's not just a regular media book. This is one of those padded media books, so it's almost like upholstered on the outside.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I need to rewatch Wild at Heart. I don't have that Shout Factory one. I've got this old Kino DVD of it. But once again, it's been a while, and I feel like that's the bad thing about a lot of these is it's just been a while since I've seen some of these.
Sibner wants to know who put this out, and it is Sinistrange. It is their number 32, obviously Universal title on the spine, and it was limited to 333 for this cover only, and I got number 122, and it's a region-free disc. I mean, you can't really go wrong.
Yeah, that cover is really, really cool. I don't remember big explosions in it, but
not really. And I did want to shout this out. Eric had it ready before I could say it. Perdita Durango is based on another story in the series by Barry Gifford, and they are connected. There are the same named characters in both films, and both wild, insane movies, especially back to back. And if you get a chance, Wild at Heart, followed by the new Severin 4K, remarkable doubleheader. It is so great to watch them back to back.
Now, does Perdita Durango, though, have Wizard of Oz imagery in it?
I mean, I could probably make it make sense. It's not explicit Wizard of Oz.
Does Linda the Good Witch actually show up?
All right. What is your number 2, my friend?
Okay, so we're talking projects. And you can't talk about David Lynch without talking about Twin Peaks.
Okay.
It has to be included. Twin Peaks is a journey, an absolute ride. It's funny, it's sad, it's depressing as all hell, and it's mostly terrifying and confusing. But man, it took me a long time to get into Twin Peaks. I tried a few years back. I made it like 4 episodes in. I was like, okay, I kind of like this. I'm into it. And I gave up on it. And then I got back into it and I was like, okay, I'm getting into this. And then I gave up on it. And then when I finally just pushed myself to finish it, I was so hooked. And then I finally got around to watching The Return and binged through that as much as I could, as fast as I could. And yeah, what a journey. And have you seen all of Twin Peaks? I can't remember when we have last talked about, because I know you've got that awesome Z to A box set.
Yep.
But I don't know if you'd ever actually seen the series all the way through.
Yes, I have.
And Firewalk with Me. Okay. Once again, I went through Firewalk with Me earlier when I was working today. This is maybe the scariest thing Lynch has ever put to screen. Am I being hyperbolic a little bit? Maybe, but like the ending to this is so scary. But do not watch this. Anybody in the chat that has not ever seen Twin Peaks, don't watch this first. This is a prequel. Do not watch it first. You have to watch the original series, and then you can watch this.
Yep.
But the way it ties into The Return is incredible. I don't know. Just okay. I'm going ahead of myself. It's the same thing that I liked so much about anything that he's done, and especially Twin Peaks, is just the ensemble of characters that he comes and puts together.
Yeah.
Everybody is so different and unique, and the characterization that each person has is remarkable. I love like Bobby. Bobby is such your standard terrible, kid.
Small town, yeah.
And then what he comes to be is amazing. I love Bobby. Bobby is one of my absolute favorites. Everybody, and of course, you can't have it without Kyle MacLachlan as Cooper. Without Cooper, you don't have Twin Peaks. I mean, he is it. So I can see why a lot of people might be skeptical on the return for a little while there because Dougie Jones, but Dougie Jones is amazing too. But yeah, again, I could go on for a while about Twin Peaks. I don't know. I feel like you're gonna have to like push me and like give me some questions here or whatever. But
I don't want to because we're going to talk about it again.
Okay, all right.
So my number 2, I'm going to jump into it real quick because I feel like this is your number 1 now. Mulholland Drive.
Yeah, we'll just do it here. So,
I think that it is a masterpiece. It is up there with like my top 3 are nearly neck and neck for my favorites for Lynch. I think that they are all 3 masterpieces in their own way, starting with Wild at Heart. Mulholland Drive, it might literally just be because it's the first one I saw, so it's a little more closer to me, that I just adore it. I think that it has maybe some of the best acting in any of the Lynch projects for sure. And then of course, is it really still on Scorsese? Thanks for that, Eric. On top of all that, the famous scene, the dumpster scene, is such
the diner. Oh yeah.
An iconic. Like everybody needs to watch this, and when you see that one scene, because a lot of people see it as it's part of a compilation. That's how they first see that scene, and like the 101 scariest moments in film or whatever. If you go and watch Mulholland Drive in full after seeing that scene, it doesn't quite have the impact. You really should see it before you get acquainted with that scene. But overall, I mean, how long is this? It is
146,
yeah,
so 2 hours and 26.
I thought it was 3 hours, but 2.5 hours is still just so amazing and so like it's the perfect length for this film as well. It's one of those things that with certain films, there is no way that you can picture the film any different, where you can't see a scene taken away or something added. This one is like that. There are other Lynch projects that are way too long. I could see certain things very much taken out of his films, but this is like the full, complete package, and I adore that. It is so remarkably made. I love it.
It's everything that, like, if The Return is his absolute like magnum opus, I feel like Mulholland Drive is obviously his film magnum opus.
Yep.
Because as you just said, it takes everything that he has done and puts it all in one. It's got mystery. It's got a fantastic cast of ensemble characters. It's got the weird, surreal eroticism to it at times.
Yep.
It's got things that you just don't understand. What's the purpose of this? Like the cowboy. Like, what's a cowboy doing here? You know?
Yeah.
And like the diner, that happens very early on in the film. And it makes no sense when you first watch it. Why is this here? But after you watch it, you're like, oh, okay, I get it now, you know? And that diner sequence, I don't want to tell you to just watch it by itself, but you could, and you still, it's as perfect as a short film itself.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. I love it. And I met Bonnie Aarons, who plays the bum and is the nun at Crypticon a couple years ago. And when I told her about that, she was like, I'm surprised people even know that I was in that or whatever. And people still like that. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, you terrified me, you know? But Silencio. Yes, the ending is gorgeous.
It is iconic. Sibner and Eric both said that the Silencio scene is more iconic than the diner scene. I think when you've seen the whole movie, it's more iconic, but because of the that scene from the diner being literally clipped out and shown as part of like the scariest moments in history, it is something that people see by itself first much more
Yeah.
often.
And
So
it's so early on in the movie too. That's like at the 15-minute mark, almost
exactly,
exactly. It's so early on,
exactly.
with characters that you're never going to see again. Spoilers. But everything makes sense when you do figure out why they're there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mulholland Drive is wonderful. That was another one too that it's another example of you got to watch it a couple times to fully grasp it. My first time watching it was like, I really like this. I don't get it. I sat on it for a couple of years. The 4K came out. I think I had watched it a previous time before then, but then the 4K came out. I turned off all the lights. It was nighttime, and it was just me and the screen. And oh my god, the experience was phenomenal. Like, and seeing Billy Ray Cyrus in 4K, amazing.
So, like I said, this was the first one I'd watched, and just like you, that first time I watched it, I went, "Man, I really like that," but I don't know why.
Yeah, and it's so dumb because this is like most of his filmography. Once you read up on it and you've seen it a couple times, you're like, "That is so basic." Like Mulholland Drive is really a basic story. You're not going to get that the first time you watch it, which maybe is a detractor to some people. But it's a very simple story. And I'm not trying to sound pretentious as all hell, but like it's pretty simple. But you gotta really get into it and focus it and read up on it and all that.
It's a simple story that's very veiled overall.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you go on.
Number one for me, we're gonna dive back in because my number one is Twin Peaks. However, I'm gonna change it up from what you said a little bit. Okay. I love everything Twin Peaks, except I'm not a huge fan of the second series.
Yeah, we need to talk about that. Absolutely. Like,
yeah,
second season is rough for many reasons, mostly because Lynch was upset with the studio for making him. The whole thing is who killed Laura Palmer, and it never was supposed to be answered. But the studio's like, well, you're so popular, you have to answer it. And while the answer, that episode is incredible. That's one of the best. After that, I mean, it's just what's a show that starts off so strong and then just nosedives? I think of something like a Heroes or Lost or something like that. It's like it starts off so amazing and then it just crashes and burns. And
even then, like on rewatches, I don't hate the second one as much as I did the first time I watched it.
I don't either, but it's just not. It's not up to the standard.
Right. It's certainly not on par with the first one. And now, like, the return is this exponential increase of quality that is so difficult to grapple with when you look at the second series and compare it. And obviously there's 22 years between whatever. It's
25, yeah, I think.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, it's crazy, absolutely crazy that it is so much better than the second series. The film, I'm so glad that the film is a part of everything. It is, again, like you said, so well made. But this is the main reason why I had to say that it was favorite Lynch projects, because this as a whole, like when you dive into a world that has somebody called the Log Lady, and you just know what that means. The fact that Kyle MacLachlan's love for coffee and donuts is just, it's his own character. The fact that it's got the tie to People Under the Stairs, and it's the two characters, like everything about this whole universe is so well thought out and so just weird, and it's immersive in a way that projects usually are not during filmmaking. There's nothing like this that gets people to pour out everything into it anymore like this. It's astonishing. It's impressive. It's a masterpiece overall, just period.
And once again, my favorite ensemble of characters. There, you can name off 10 characters, no matter how big or small, from the series, and I'm going to be like, oh, they're amazing. I love them. I love again, like Bobby. I love his dad, Major Briggs. He's probably one of my absolute favorite characters of the series. If you watch the episode where his dad talks to Bobby in the diner and you don't shed a tear, something's wrong with you. Yeah. But yeah, what a good show. But unfortunately, that second season is just once you get about, I think it's like episode 9. Once you get past that, you could theoretically skip to the last episode because that final episode is also incredible. But you might as well watch it. It's only a few. It's like 12 episodes. Might as well just watch them.
Sibner is reminding us to read Room to Dream. Lots of great stories in there. Eric says Lynch was off making Wild at Heart during the second season, and I don't think that timeline matches up. I think Wild at Heart came out long
Wild at
before.
Heart's 90, and Twin Peaks the first season is 90 as well. So there may be overlap, but I don't think with the second season.
I don't think so. That second season it's just odd, very, very odd.
You've got Ben Horn acting like he's a Confederate general. You've got James riding off on his motorcycle, having an affair. That's where it gets like the whole series is like a parody of like soap operas in a way.
Yeah,
that's where it really gets too soapy for my liking.
Yep.
And then of course it ends on the worst cliffhanger. Thank God for the return, but like that, I can't imagine. I was obviously not even born when the original run came out.
Watching it week to week.
Imagine.
Yeah.
And I know how I felt now when the return ended. Like I'm like, oh my God, but I can't imagine 25 years earlier with the season 2 ending, how big of a shock that would have been.
Interesting. So Flex, I know this is off topic. Flex wants to know if Megan will have a 4K. It looks like not, as far as I'm aware. I believe it is only getting a blue.
Have you seen Megan yet?
I have not. I'm dying to see it. Did you go see it?
No, I haven't. I'll be honest with you. I haven't been to the theater. Okay, so I went just on Monday night. I'll tell that in a second. But before that was Top Gun Maverick, which I know you always like grimace at every time that's come up in discussion. But Top Gun was fun. I'm not gonna lie. But after that, so then we went and saw Titanic, the 4K remaster in IMAX, and oh my God, that movie has never looked better. Like it looked amazing. The 3D was a little at times, but trust James Cameron. Like
it's an incredible movie.
Yeah, it's wonderful. But no, I did not see Megan. I would like to see it. I have a feeling I'm not going to be in the camp of this is the most amazing thing ever, like some people are, because like you're a big like Malignant fan.
Oh yeah,
right. I kind of hated Malignant, and I think my reason was I got it, but at the same time I was like, okay, this is whatever, And I'm afraid I'll fall in that with Megan.
Right.
I know what they're going for, but so I do want to see it though.
Yeah, it looks fun.
The TikTok dance, got me.
Yeah. Twin Peaks, for anybody that has not seen it, highly recommend it. You really should watch it in release order. It is something that you will get the most enjoyment out of it that way. I know that there's been, blog posts throughout the years that have, suggested different watching orders and different, even chopping up the seasons into watching episodes out of order. I don't understand that at all.
The only thing I would ever suggest chopping out of order is like the Star Wars franchise. You watch that in machete order. Do that. Do not do that with Twin Peaks. No, you have to watch that in release. You watch it season 1, season 2, Firewalk with Me. Then if you're really liking it, watch The Missing Pieces, and then do The Return. And then there are books to go along with them. Now, unfortunately, I have not ever read the books.
Me neither.
I have attempted to look at them by like Barnes & Noble because I like to pick up my stuff locally. Even though Barnes & Noble's not obviously like a mom and pop store, but it's just down the road, I can just go pick it up there. But they never have had it in stock, They've got like Laura Palmer's diary. I think they have Cooper, his like audio logs with Diane. And then I think there's a big like culmination that I think Mark Frost wrote of like the history of Twin Peaks. He might have done like 1 or 2 of those. I would like to read them, but yes, DC's got his comment. They're pretty much all Mark Frost. I don't think Lynch had any hand, and if he did, it probably wouldn't be much. But I don't think Lynch wrote anything with the books.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a good show. I'm due for another good rewatch because it's been a while again. COVID has screwed with my time perception so much. I feel like I just watched the series, and I realized it's been 3-4 years at this point. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah,
It's one of those things that it's very gratifying to not necessarily binge, but watch quickly and get it all together. But at the same time, it's also one that is really difficult to absorb everything that close together. So if you can, like, I don't want to say binge necessarily, but try to watch all of it within like a 6-month period.
Yeah.
Rather than spreading it out too far. There's a lot to absorb. Totally get that. And it's Lynch, so it's heavy and just messy at points, but it is so worth it.
And The Return is so different compared to, yes, An Erotic History of the Log Lady sounds so...
Oh, thanks, Will.
Catherine Coulson, though, like, what a performance. And especially in The Return, like,
yeah,
that's a courageous... If anybody doesn't know, Catherine Coulson, the Log Lady, had terminal cancer, and she still filmed her scenes. And what bravery for her to do that is incredible. And that's the crummy part about Twin Peaks. Okay, so going back to what's a project if he had one more project in him. I had read actually earlier today. Theory that people have is a Twin Peaks season 4, but we're pretty much totally new cast of characters. How would you feel on that? Same universe, same everything, Black Lodge related, but we're not having the same people.
If it's the same quality, I'm not necessarily against it at all.
Yeah. Because we've lost so many people. That's the problem that I have with it. So many major people have passed away.
Nice. Sivner says, I'm rewatching Twin Peaks with my girlfriend. Her first time, season 2, episode 4 right now. That's best of luck.
I don't want you to write in the chat, but I really would love to know theories that she might have, because you're getting there. So
Lynch. I just realized when we talked about Mulholland Drive, I failed to list 2 things that I absolutely should have. First off, Robert Forster is in Mulholland Drive. Yeah. That alone, like, that's reason enough to watch it if you never have. And then the other thing, I have adored Naomi Watts since I was like 14, and that's not meant as like a young boy fantasy type of thing, but for some reason she was just super magnetic for me, and I love the way she acted, and I don't know why, because it's not like she's a really like over the top actor or anything like that. She's very understated in most everything she does, but I loved her in this, loved her in The Ring, loved her in Funny Games, and all of those thriller-esque films. She absolutely kills it.
Oh yeah, she's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Forster. He's not in Mulholland Drive much, but
no.
Again, he's Robert Forster, and he's in The Return. So if you do like Robert Forster, definitely check out The Return once you get through the earlier seasons and Fire Walk with Me. There was a comment here earlier too. Somebody had said about episode 8. All you need to know is just the words episode 8 of The Return. I think they said it was the scariest hour of TV. Yes, that's all you need to know. That's all you got to know.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Will says, hot take, Naomi Watts was the greatest actor of that generation. Damn. I mean, I wasn't going to say it. I would almost say up there with, I mean, I know she was younger, but Toni Collette showed a hell of a lot of power back then, too.
So we're saying generation. So just around like turn of the century.
Yeah, turn of the century to like 2005. I mean, Toni Collette in The Sixth Sense, incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, we can go on about Toni Collette all night, but
yeah, we really could. Like, yeah, I was just going to jump into doing it. The fact that she did that and then followed how many years? It was like 2011 when that one movie that, God, what the hell is the name of it?
2011.
Yeah, I might be wrong with that year. It's probably a little bit earlier.
But you're still on Toni Collette.
Yes. What I am like blanking because I'm so tired right now. Toni Collette. Let me see. Somebody else is probably going to put it in the chat because they've heard me talk about it like 19 times. Frick.
There's that one underground movie she did. I think it's called Hereditary.
Not talking about Hereditary. Obviously, she is brilliant in Hereditary. Good Lord, she did a lot of stuff back then. Oh, I missed it by a lot. 2006, Little
Okay.
Miss Sunshine.
Oh yeah.
She was
Absolutely.
freaking amazing in Little Miss Sunshine.
That's a good
I
one.
Heart Huckabees. Isn't Kate Winslet in that group? Kate Winslet, for me, I don't think she took off for me as an actress until maybe a few years late. Like, obviously, she was amazing in Titanic, but and Eternal Sunshine. Okay, yeah, Kate Winslet's yeah.
I had better appreciation for Kate Winslet on Titanic. Because for a while there, my only gripe with Titanic was like, well, some of the acting's not that great. But then I watched, I'm like, it's really good. Like, I still think Leo is my like weak point of that movie, but he's still good, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Leo is. It's hard to. Leo is very young, and that cast has to be intimidating as hell. I mean, to be around Kate Winslet and Kathy Bates and like that age, to be around Billy Zane in
Billy Zane, we're
near the
tying it
end
all
of the
back because Billy
90s.
Zane's in Twin Peaks.
Oh man. Naomi Watts was good in Down, aka The Shaft. Titanic is a good movie too. Oh man.
Naomi
Yes,
Watts,
Heavenly Creatures.
I haven't seen that. We had a foreign exchange student
Dude, good call. Sorry.
in 7th grade from Brazil, and a movie that he really liked that he wanted me to watch, and I bought it, but unfortunately we never watched it together. Was 21 Grams. You ever seen that one?
I don't think I have, but it did just get a mention. 21 Grams is A++. Not a great movie.
Yeah, he loved that one. He always wanted me to watch it, but we never watched it together. But yeah, that's one that's been on the shelf too for a long time, and I just never gotten around to watch it.
Sibner says there's a line in season 2 of Twin Peaks which has Billy Zane, which is then repeated back to him in Titanic. Yes.
So yeah, that's. I feel like that's never been. I feel like there's like something that's never been confirmed, like to James Cameron. If he pulled that from Twin Peaks, it has to be clearly because
Right.
it's to Norma says it to her husband Hank. The line of "I'd rather be his whore than your wife," and obviously that's verbatim in Titanic. And I think the thing was in that same episode is when Billy Zane's first introduced.
Yeah.
There has to be a connection, but I feel like again, there's never been a confirmation. So I need to meet James Cameron, and obviously Jeremy meets everybody. So if Jeremy meets James Cameron, can you please pass a message along? We'd really appreciate it.
How do you feel about this? Will Gish says Kathy Bates is a top 10 American actor of all time. Hashtag hot.
I have a hard time saying like top 10, but yeah, Kathy Bates is always on her A game. She really is. I really like her. I can't say top 10 because there's just so many people, but you can't deny that she's good when she gets an Oscar for a horror movie in Misery.
Yeah, I think that is maybe one of like the top 10 or 15 single performances in a film ever.
Yeah, especially for if you're going to even narrow it down more to, let's say, Best Actress winners.
Yeah.
I feel like she has to be in consideration for a top 10. She wouldn't be my number 1, but she's very good. I'm trying to even think what other Kathy Bates stuff that I've seen. She's in so much. The Squirrel Lady in Rat Race. I mean, like, come on, what a small role, and she's like the most memorable part of that movie. You know, Rat Race is really funny. All right,
I love Rat Race. I've got nothing against it.
I feel like I don't like to use the term underrated. You know me. You've seen my rants on underrated versus underseen. I feel like Rat Race is just it's the tinge.
Rat Race is certainly underrated. I do feel like it was seen properly at the time.
Yeah.
I will throw out. I know we've gotten 2 mentions of Waterboy, or three mentions of Waterboy now. Waterboy, she is great in that. However, I'm going to throw out something that is not talked about as much anymore, especially because the frickin' Sopranos and The Wire have overpowered it. But her role in 6 Feet Under is one of the best parts of the later seasons of that show. I loved 6 Feet Under, and she plays this enigmatic hippie lady that comes in as like this whirling dervish of just interrupting somebody's life, and she is so great in 6 Feet Under. Always loved her, and she was only in like 7 or 8 episodes.
That's a show that I really want to see because I always hear the ending is that last episode is phenomenal, and I've never had it spoiled. So like, I want to do it, but it's like any show that. How many seasons? Is that 6?
5 or 6, but they're not super long. It's HBO season, so it's only like 10 episodes a season.
I would like to, even like Sopranos. I tried doing Sopranos like a year or 2 ago, and that should be a show that I like love.
Yeah,
I made it 7 episodes in, and I just gave up, and it wasn't a lack of interest. I just stopped watching.
I can't imagine doing that.
I know it's terrible, especially for a show like that. Like, I love mafia stuff, that should be up my alley. But I just stopped. I don't know. I feel like that'd be my problem with 6 Feet Under is I would just stop, not out of hating it. I would just stop watching.
6 Feet Under is fascinating because you mentioned how the ending hasn't been spoiled for you.
I've never had it spoiled. I've never had the ending spoiled. I understand it's amazing though.
It's one of those endings that is very difficult to spoil because it is a culmination of the entire series that makes it so fulfilling. It's got an incredible like philosophical ending that people are referencing when they say the ending is great, but the whole final episode is just ending of storyline after ending of storyline, and it wraps it up in such a beautiful way. And when you're surrounding your entire show around death, there's a lot of beauty that you would not expect in a show like that.
Once again, it's on the shelf. I just gotta get into it.
Dylan says it is 5 seasons with 63 episodes.
Okay, and of course they're HBO, so they're about an hour. So if I could binge through a Breaking Bad, which is 48 minutes, and that's the exact same amount of episodes and seasons, I can certainly do 6 Feet Under.
And it's very good, especially because it's one of those where every episode it's a serial basically, where it's one contained story, but it also has things that affect the next episode. And the fact that every single episode opens with an interesting death, it is such a great show, primarily because of that. You get to see really interesting character actors come in through this entire thing. Yeah, I haven't talked about 6 Feet Under a lot on here.
I was going to say, you said character actors. Isn't Richard Jenkins? He's the very first. Okay, yeah. He's
the patriarch of the main family.
Yeah, but he's the first.
Yes.
So.
But he is not gone after that first episode. You see him a lot throughout the show.
All right.
And Richard then he is always amazing. I love it. Right as Roland pops in here and says, "What's going on? What's up, Roland?" I was about to say, anybody else have any questions? Because I think we're about done. We went over.
I was going to say, we should do real quick since we covered most of them. We should let's just cover quickly the ones that we didn't talk about at all.
All right. And the sad part here, 2 or 3 of the others I've not seen just because they don't really interest me that much.
So we talked Elephant Man briefly. We talked about all the other ones. Dune, I said I watched this tonight. Very slow, very boring. We barely touched Inland Empire. Again, this is a tough watch. And the only one we really didn't touch on was Lost Highway. That up. But I struggle with Lost Highway. I don't know. Did you ever watch?
Yeah, it's not for me. It's out of that realm of ones that I appreciate even a lot. I do appreciate the recent Criterion release. I think it looks fantastic. Very impressive presentation for what it could have been. It's barely even like mid-tier Lynch for me.
Yeah, I would agree. It's not in my top 5, and it wouldn't be even. It's probably, if I had to rank it, it's probably like 8 or 7. Like, it's pretty low there out of the 10.
Yeah.
It's another one. I did not understand the lick of it the first time I watched it. Did not. Sat on it, watched the 4K here. I get it a little better. I still think it's sloppy.
Yeah.
But I would recommend it just to say, if you like Lynch, you want to obviously see it. You get a really creepy Robert Blake performance. Everybody knows the Mystery Man. And I think the soundtrack is more legendary than the film itself. You've got that Trent Reznor and all that other artists of that time on that soundtrack. Yeah, great director. Gotta love him.
Will says, never seen Lost Highway, but bumping that soundtrack in middle school, bangers from Smashing Pumpkins and 9 Inch Nails. Yep.
Yeah, again, I think the soundtrack is more legendary than the movie itself, and it makes me laugh because he does Lost Highway. Yeah, there you go. He does Lost Highway, and then he does The Straight Story, and then he does Mulholland Drive. What a 3-run! Like,
what a weird sandwich.
what a weird exactly.
Oh man. Yeah, so David Lynch is fantastic. If you've never dove in, there's only really 2 or 3 that I would suggest starting. Probably only 2 that I would suggest starting with.
So, which ones did you say you hadn't seen? Because you said you hadn't talked about them.
I have like no interest in watching his version of Dune.
Okay, yeah,
None
I
at
wouldn't
all.
recommend it either. I mean, I did it reluctantly tonight because it was on the shelf, and we're going to talk about this, and I'm like, I better just do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would not recommend.
I have I think I said this earlier. I've still not finished Elephant Man. Or maybe I have. I think I have. But have not gotten all the way to
Inland Empire, you said.
Inland Empire, and then short story. That's it.
Straight Story, yeah. Which we will watch together.
I don't know why I said short story. I meant straight story.
Yeah, it's not really short, but yeah.
It's nothing from Lynch's shorts.
No, not at all.
Not even his shorts are really that short. Yeah, this has been fantastic, and I really enjoyed this. Lynch is not one that a lot of people would love to talk about, so I'm glad that you were open to it, and
yeah,
hope people have enjoyed it. That's it's a tough thing to even provide discourse on, because it's hard to not spoil films while also trying to give the tone of these. And with these, there are certain aspects kind of all of these films that if you spoil one part of it, the whole film can lose a lot of the luster. And it's not even like twists. It's just things are weird about the movies. And if I just tell you one of the weird things, it kind of ruins that movie for certain aspects.
And I hope I didn't do that at all tonight. I was trying to put the sell on a lot of these.
Yeah, I don't think
I want people to seek them out if they haven't ever. But yeah, as you said, you got to just go in as blind as possible and then read up on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did Jack do? As DC put, that was one of his shorts that he done on Netflix with the monkey.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember anything about it, but you know.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Anthony says it's been fun. Jeremy says, am I the only person that kind of enjoys Lynch's Dune?
Probably.
Maybe. Because even Lynch doesn't really enjoy it.
No, he took his name off of it too. Like, and if you want to see Sting in a giant like bikini thing, like Speedo, and I can't think who the actor is by name, but it's the Baron, and he like. Did you ever see the newest Dune at all?
No,
Okay.
I actually have not.
So the one of the main villains it's the Baron, and he's played by Stellan Skarsgård in the remake, and he floats, but he's got this like long almost looks like a tail on him, you know, because he's floating in the air. But in the Lynch version, he literally floats like a balloon. It's really silly, and he's got all these like boils and warts on his face. It's bizarre, but it's and yes, it is Sting, not the wrestler, but in fact the musician,
and also Patrick Stewart,
the wrestler in a Speedo when he wrestled. But yeah, Sting of the Police in a big old Speedo.
Sting, Patrick Stewart, Kyle MacLachlan, and Virginia Madsen. I
don't even know who Virginia Madsen was in it.
Right.
And then Patrick Stewart has been old all his life, and he looks hella old in this one too.
Virginia Madsen is the princess in Dune.
Okay. All right. Didn't even pick up on that. What?
KB, I hope you're feeling better. It sucks that you fell. It was nasty out there. All right, everybody. Thanks for giving it a watch. We will be back next Thursday. But like I said, if you want to hear some more conversation with Will Gish, who was commenting earlier as the Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society, I have a long conversation with him coming out tomorrow. I've got a review video from Imprint Items about to be dropping. But the important thing that I really wanted to highlight at the end here, it is Thursday, February 16th, and in just 3 days, we have the Shelf Shock Rewind Awards that are going to be on this channel, on the Shelf Shock YouTube channel, on Twitch, everywhere. this is going to be a big deal. We have a lot of people with videos already ready to go in this. We've got a lot of people with their hands involved. It is huge. On top of all that, we have a ton of giveaways to do Sunday night. So if you want a chance at multiple things, we've got multiple Grindhouse video gift certificates. We've got a box set getting donated by Orbit DVD. We've got some other stuff that you'll see on Sunday. Sibner, it is at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific, and I can't freaking wait. I'm so excited for you guys to see these results. But until then, please get the word out. Get as many people involved as you can. As usual, I want to say thank you to the people that keep the support on this channel going. All of the patrons, you guys are amazing. And just like I highlighted last night, I'm not going to do this every single time. But Brad Henderson of TerraVision and used to be a Vinegar Syndrome is now a patron and in the Discord. So if you want hands-on information from Brad, come hang out in the Discord and ask away. He is open to answering questions. And yeah, we're eager to have you. During the show, we had another person become a patron. So thank you, Shane. You'll get the personalized shout out. I appreciate you all. And until next time, we'll see you then.
See you guys.